Good morning and welcome to the 11th edition of Tata Literature Live, co-sponsored by Tata Projects and Tata Steel. This session is sponsored by Akshara Foundation, Mumbai. Coming up now as part of the Little Festival for our young audience, a lovely session by author Ranjit Lal. I'd like to remind our viewers that we will be taking questions at the end of the session. So remember to keep typing away your questions in the comment section as the session goes along. Ranjit Lal, whose works include the much acclaimed and widely read The Bossman Adventures, Enjoying Birds, Faces in the Water, and The Crow Chronicles. He loves writing, especially for children aged 10 to 100. And today's session is going to be so fascinating. He's going to talk about animals that look like humans we know. How exciting! Let's begin the session right away. Over to you, Ranjit Lal.
Well, thank you and good morning, everybody. And we shall now be talking about some of the animals and insects that I've written about, which have, well, not exactly looked like us, but in their behavior, sometimes they always remind me of ourselves. So in case, we get too above ourselves and think that we are very great, there are these creatures that can remind us that, hey, actually, we are not all that different in a way. And the creatures themselves remind me of ourselves, in their behavior and what they do. So I think we can start off and with maybe the first slide. Yeah, now this, as you can see, is a caterpillar, right? Now, caterpillars have only one objective in life, and that is to eat and eat and eat and get fatter and fatter and fatter. So now you all know that these days fat people are unfortunately looked down upon, and everybody says you've got to be thin and all that. So this is what struck me in this story, because what happens to caterpillars is they become a chrysalis or a pupae, and a marvelous change takes place inside. This huge, gigantic caterpillar turns into this absolutely delicate butterfly, which is like, it's gone on a slimming course to end all slimming courses, because it's so slim, it's so light, so beautiful. So I saw this happening actually, and I said that, there's a story here, because what if when there's a caterpillar, you have a fat one, some nasty insect like a praying mantis who likes to feed on butterflies decides that, hey, I can have this meal very easily. So she sort of instigates this caterpillar into going on a diet. Now, caterpillars don't like going on diet. They can't go on. They have to eat. But this poor thing is forced into a diet. And when she turns into a butterfly, she is half-formed. She is crippled. She cannot fly, because that praying mantis is just waiting for this to happen so she can eat her. So that was the story that came to my mind. And that's what I wrote. But I mean, you can think about any story dealing with caterpillars about diets. I sometimes think that when they become a chrysalis, it's like the ultimate yoga, because you stay static for 1 week or 10 days, and those fantastic changes are taking place inside you. It's amazing. So I mean, that's how the caterpillar story started off. Now I think we can go to the next slide. Spiders. I don't know about you guys, but I love spiders. I think they're just too fascinating. And you should know one fact about spiders. It's that the spider moms are the real ferocious ones, because they are generally about 100 times as large as spider daddies. And during the honeymoon period of the Mr. and Mrs. Spider, Mr. Spider generally gets eaten by Mrs. Spider. And her rationale is that, you know, it gives me very good protein for my babies so that they'll be healthy and they'll be strong. So I did a story based on this, and it was such fun to write because these little baby spiders are asking their mom, where's daddy, where's dad, where's papa? We've never seen papa. And was he handsome? Was he smart? What was he like? And she says, yes, he's very smart and he was very good and he was very sweet and blah blah. And where is he now and all that? And then she tells them, I ate them. I ate him. And she says, what do you mean you ate him? How could you eat him? She says, oh yes, I ate him because I knew that if I'd eaten him, you guys would be strong and healthy and like you are now. Now, there's one other interesting thing that you might like to know about spiders, that when there are a lot of babies in a web and there's not enough food, not only will the babies start eating each other, but the mom may also eat the babies. And there's one particular species of spider in which the mom gets herself deliberately eaten by her babies so that they can have enough nourishment. So you see, it's just like us, the opposite things that are happening, the things that, there's no saying what is right, what is wrong. All the spider mom wants is for her babies to survive. So that's how that story came about, and it was great fun writing it. I think we can go to the next. Yeah, after the spiders. Moths. Oh yes. Now you all guys, everybody loves butterflies. They're so pretty and they're so delicate and they like dancers and blah, blah, blah. But the real party goers are moths because they come out at night after lights out, after all the good butterflies have gone to bed. That's when the moths come out to dance. So I was just thinking that, nobody admires moths and things like that. So I wrote a story dealing with a beauty contest for moths that has been organized near a bulb in a forest rest house, in the porch, in the dark. And all these moths, and the prize is a lantana hedge, access to a lantana hedge where there's a lot of nectar for 1 year. You can access that. These moths get very excited and all that, and they all go there dancing madly and all that. And they have really sort of studied or thought about who has sponsored this great beauty contest. And the sponsors are a praying mantis, a toad, and a pair of geckos, all of who love moths. So they are the sponsors. So when these guys come and dance and all that, they get tired. They sit on the wall, as you will see, as you might have seen. And of course, these guys help themselves left, right, and center. So anyway, the leading lady, the one who's going to win, is winning this competition, is also, she's very excited and all the rest of it. But what happens is that two gecko brothers who have organized this whole show start fighting with each other. And they fight and they accidentally switch off the light. Now, when the light goes off, these moths suddenly come to their senses because, the light otherwise tends to hypnotize them. They go round and round. Actually, scientists still don't know exactly why they do that. But they do go round and round and then bang into it and burn. So once the lights go off, these moths come to their senses and they realize that lots of them are missing and they know what's happening and they disappear. So that was the moth story, and I just thought that it was time that somebody took notice. And moths can be as beautiful, if not more beautiful, than butterflies. So if you are ever out in the forest or anything like that at a hill station at night, get up early in the morning and look outside your rest house or whatever. There's sure to be a whole lineup of moths over there. Different shapes, colors, sizes. They're fabulous. I think we should do the next now. Magpie Robin. Oh, this was another fun story. This bird is the male is a fabulous singer. He whistles beautifully. Now, male birds generally are the ones that sing, and they sing for for 2 or 3 reasons. One is to attract a mate. Two is to tell other male birds that, hey, all this area is my territory, so stay out. And three, they'd sing early in the morning to assure everybody else that we've made it through the night, we are alive, so stay away. Because they know that, at night they can get eaten by cats or by owls or whatever. So these are the three reasons. Now, I had gone to Goa for a holiday long time ago in summer, and 4 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock in the morning, this Magpie Robin starts singing from a terrace just nearby, outside the window. So I sort of said, oh God, I'm on a holiday, and he started singing, but he sings so beautifully, I better listen. So I listened and I said, okay, hopefully ho gaya, now tomorrow he won't be there. Next day he was there again, singing. Fortunately, he shut up after 5 minutes. So I said, very good. But then another Magpie Robin started singing an even more beautiful song from very near that place. So I said, this guy's got competition. This is never going to end now. I've had it. And then I went down into the garden to check, and I could only find one pair of Magpie Robins in the garden. Now, this garden had a swimming pool, it had lovely grass, lots of bushes, trees, flowers. It was very nice. So I said, I was a little puzzled, and I forgot about this. Then in a book I read that, what some male birds do? They deliberately sing different songs from the same general area, pretending to be different males, so that any outsider who's listening in thinks that, if I want to get this territory and get that guy's girl, I will not have to fight one, I will have to fight two or three. And I'm sure to get injured, and that's not worth it, and stay away. So that was what that Magpie Robin was up to. And I wrote a story based on that. Exactly the same thing happens, except at the, this lady Magpie Robin comes there, and she likes everything and all the rest of it. And then she says that, and he says, will you stay with me? And we can, all the swimming pool is mine, 3 blocks of flats, flowers, blah, 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 all mine. So she's sensible. She said, give me a night to think over it. I'll come tomorrow and tell you. So he gets scared, and then he sings this double song, 2 songs. And she comes back the next morning, and she doesn't look at him in the eye. And he says, what's the problem? Can I get you a worm? Is there any issue? So she said, I heard you singing this morning, and you sang beautifully. But 5 minutes later, there was another Magpie Robin that sang even more beautifully. I want to find him. And she flies off to find him. So this guy is left empty-handed, because maybe he's been a little too smart. So that's the story with the Magpie Robin. And again, as I tell you, it was great fun to write, because he reminded me of all these fabulous music composers. I call him Mozart. So that's with the Magpie Robin. I think we can go to the next. Grey hornbills. Now, these birds look as though they've come out of Jurassic Park. And they have a high-pitched squealing sound. They're pretty big. And in Bombay, I first saw them in Bombay in the Borivali National Park, which is your Sanjay Gandhi National Park now. And they just floored me. Now, these guys have a very interesting way of nesting. They nest in the hollows of trees. And the female, the mom, she gets in, and she sort of starts blocking the entrance to that hollow. And the male does the same. They use their excreta, they use mud. And the reason is security for the chicks, so that no snake or anything else can get in. And all the time, she's sitting on her eggs till her baby's hatch, she is there. And she is fed by the male from this tiny slit. He feeds her berries and things like that every 5 minutes, every 10, 20 minutes. So he's very busy. So I said that, yeah, this is a very nice thing for a story, because what if there was a grey hornbill who was sort of absolutely very concerned about security, and he was not convinced that mud and excreta could really seal his home up properly. So what he does is he goes to a building site nearby, and he gets reinforced concrete, and he uses that to seal up the hole. Now, very nice. So it's all very secure, but maybe it's a little too secure, because when the babies hatch, the mom has to come out and help, the dad to feed them because it's huge birds. And she finds that she can't get out because this damn thing has been sealed by reinforced concrete. What to do? So there's a great hoo-ha and hullabaloo and all that. And other birds are accusing this fellow, saying that you must be having some other girlfriend somewhere. That's why you locked up this one. Now you're going to go after her. And he is very upset. And so this woodpecker turns up. And this guy manages to sort of make the woodpecker say, okay, can you open this thing for me, and etc., etc. The woodpecker is a bit of a cocky guy, a little too big for his boots. Says, sure, no problem, and all that. Tuck, 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 he does. After 5 or 10 minutes, he says, look, I've got a headache. Nothing is happening here. I mean, you're on your own. That's it. And then a little coppersmith comes. I don't know if you know what a coppersmith is. It's a little green bird with a stout beak. They are related to woodpeckers. They're very sweet birds. In fact, they got me interested in bird watching. So he comes along and he says, now what's the problem here and all that? That woodpecker says, you come to do something over here. I couldn't do it. You think you're going to do it? So the coppersmith says, no, well, let's see. And he does a bit of tuck, tuck, tuck. Realizes he's not going to manage anything. Then he starts going around the trunk of the tree. And from the back, he finds a soft spot. And he pecks and pecks and pecks and makes a hole. And from that hole, they enlarge the hole. The mom hornbill can get out, and all is well. So it just shows that, sometimes you need to use a bit of brain rather than just brawn. So I think we can go to the next story. Tigers. Now, again, in fact, I did a book. I've done 2 books on tigers, and the one I'll tell you about is called The Tigers of Taboo Valley. Now, normally in tiger families, it's only the mom that looks after the cubs. And generally, if the mom dies, the cubs starve and they also die. But in Ranthambore National Park some years ago, this happened. The mom died. And the rangers and all that, they found that the father had taken over the role and was teaching the cubs how to hunt and how to, grow up properly. And he used to feed them, hunt for them, and take care of them. So I said that here, there's a story over here, because in our society also, fathers are generally quite aloof with their kids. They don't sort of really take part in the bringing up the child. It's all the mom. So I said, now this is the tradition also in tiger families. Now what happens in this story is that the poor mom is poached, and her 4 little cubs, who are called, I think the male is called Zafran, and there are 3 little girls called Hasti, Masti, and Fasti. So they are left on their own, and they're struggling to survive. And the father wants to have nothing to do with them. When he's told that this has happened, he says they are on their own. They want to die, they can die. I'm not. I'm a male. I don't do these things. But then one day, these little cubs, they see this huge wild boar, which they want to kill and eat. And this wild boar is having a great time with them, saying that, what are they thinking of? And Fasti is the huntress amongst them. So she is getting ready to pounce. And this boar starts to snort, and she's going to charge and trample her completely. And that's when the father sees this little one, this little baby tiger. And he sees that she is exactly like he is. She's got the same eyes, the same kind of face. And then he goes to the rescue and he kills that boar. Then he has to bring up the cubs. Now he is the alpha male, the big boss in that park. And when the other tigers hear that, this is what he's doing, he said, now we got to get rid of him because he's a shame on our tiger society and all that. And they have to run away. They go to this place called Taboo Valley, where no predators are found because, the vultures had died due to the drug that they used on buffaloes in that area. And so all the other predators are scared. So Taboo Valley was a place where nobody sort of went except the herbivores, the grazing animals, because they were safe. So anyway, then the story continues as how this guy, I think his name was Sher Rana or something like that. He not only protects his cubs, but he gets the message across to the other male tigers that, look, chum, when this sort of thing happens to you, you're going to behave in exactly the same way, which is exactly what happened. So that's with this story. Again, I had great fun writing the story, and I really enjoyed it. I think we can go to the next. Dung beetles. Okay, so these are one of my favorite insects, because what they do is, cow dung, horse dung, dog dung, they go there, they collect it. They're very stout, they're strong. They roll the dung, the male rolls the dung into a ball, and they rolls it away and then insert it in the hole where the female lays her egg, so that her babies can eat that dung, which is very actually rich in nourishment. And they also eat that. So this is about a Mr. and Mrs. Dung beetle who are doing this, and they get robbed. Now this actually happens with dung beetles. There are gangs that come there, and they rob these guys of their dung. So the gang here was called the Frightful Farts. And there was Big Fart and Little Fart and Sweetie Fart and Arty Fart and Hearty Fart and the whole works. So they not only robbed these guys of their dung, but they also kidnapped them and make them their slaves, because they said there's something special in this guy's dung, which are making us like super dung beetles. And that is because these two original dung beetles knew the head buffalo who was supplying them with super dung. So then the story progresses that now these guys are captured, and they're wondering how to get out. And then they manage to go and tell the head buffalo what's happened. So he says, don't worry, I'll fix it. And he produces dung and all that, and they take it and they roll these dung balls, which eventually explode. And the frightful farts are sent flying all over the place. And up in the sky, there's a satellite which is roaming around and seeing and they photograph this. And they say, oh God, India has gone and blown another nuclear bomb. So that's how that story ends. So it was great fun. I think now we have run out of time nearly. So I think maybe we can get on to the questions.
Yes, indeed, we can get on to the questions, because quite a few have come in. Because we are on social media everywhere, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, and so that's where we've been collecting all the questions.
Okay.
The first question is from 9-year-old Ellie Swami. Okay. Ellie asks, my uncle looks like a squirrel. His hair is black and white and combed back. He loves nuts. Should I tell him he behaves like a squirrel?
First, see if he does behave like a squirrel. Well, he does like nuts. Does he eat them in the same way that the squirrel eats them? Like this, like this, like this? Good. So you figure that out. And then you can think about writing a story about squirrels, because they are also very interesting animals. Actually, somebody once said that, we don't like rats, but we love squirrels. Now, what is a squirrel? It's just a rat with a bushy tail. They're both rodents. They're both the same family. So why are we discriminating? Oh. If we love squirrels, we should love rats.
I never thought about that, actually. That's a very interesting point. Yes. All right. The second question is come from Andy Purr, 12-year-old Andy Purr, who asks, do you like pigeons? Should we like them even though they are pests?
No, I don't like pigeons very much. But I recently read in the newspaper the other day that one of these racing pigeons was sold for $1.9 million. Now that is, getting into my head. There's an idea of a story. And can you imagine what this sort of news would be doing in pigeon society? They'd be fluffing themselves up even fatter, dancing even more, and they're all over the place. They're throwing other birds out of the cities. Yes. So we should not really feed them, because actually they're birds that live on cliff tops. And they followed us because once we started agriculture, we used to spread, drop grain all over the place, and they used to pick that up, and then they discovered the markets. Sparrows did the same too, and that's why they started coming to the house, to the homes and markets, and now they're all over the place, and even nesting in your air conditioner duct, going goo 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 in the middle of the night. They're awful. I mean, I don't like them at all, but they do have that navigation ability also, that you can leave a pigeon anywhere and it'll come home. So you have to, I mean, we keep saying that, the bird brain, but that little bird brain has a lot of stuff in it.
Oh,
So
yes.
never sort of denigrate something by the size or the apparent foolishness of it.
Absolutely.
I don't like them. I don't really like them very much.
All right, fair enough. 12-year-old Ravi Rohana has asked, how can I become a wildlife expert like you? Will I have to miss school?
Not at all. You can just actually stare out of your school window. If there's a tree outside, or whatever birds come over there, it will be more interesting often than your lessons. I can tell you that, because it's. I mean, that's granted. That's taken for granted.
Yes.
And otherwise, in your home also, if you have a garden or you have access to a park, you just go there. In fact, all you have to do is sit down under a tree, look at the tree, see what birds you can find, see what insects you can find, what are they doing, and ask yourself, why are they behaving like this? What are they up to? Why are these ants all in a row marching up and down? And what are they doing? And from then you can start reading about them, and you'll find out more. And in your holidays, you can go to a national park or wildlife sanctuary and go for the bigger thing. But the problem is that people going into national parks and sanctuaries, all they want is tiger, 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 bus, and their eyes close for everything else.
Right.
And which is so stupid, because there's a whole tamasha happening over there with the other animals, and their whole lives are there, their ecosystem is working, and the wildlife guards will try to encourage you to do that. But people thought, tiger, tiger, as though they become the tiger by seeing the tiger. That's the thing behind it, I think.
Yes.
So you just start at home. Yeah, I mean, I found so many things in the house. In the bathroom, you see spiders hunting, and there was one very clever spider that had made a little web in the corner of my bathroom, and I was wondering, what the hell is he doing here? Nothing's going to come. Then I saw over a period of time that ants used to use that same pathway every day, and every day she used to catch one ant. So she knew exactly what was happening and had laid her trap accordingly. So they are quite smart.
I really feel animals are way smarter than us. Absolutely. There's another question here that, yes, Pranoy Das, 10-year-old, has asked, are animal moms more scary than animal dads?
More scary?
Hmm.
Well, they're certainly more scary when they have their babies to protect. Animals and birds. Because there's nothing like a mom who is fierce as one who is protecting her babies. She could be protecting it from another male. She could be protecting it from you. I remember when I lived in Bombay, there was a pair of kites that nested outside our house. And the moment they had babies, you couldn't stand in the veranda because you would be dive bombed by the mom. And she was clever because she used to come around the corner of the building so you can't see her. And then like a jet, come down at you, the claws extended, beak open, get out of my life, get out of here. But rest of the year, she was fine. So when they have babies, they are ferocious.
Right. That makes sense. There's a question from Shweta Saxena asking, is it also true that cats see black and white?
I don't know whether cats can see color. I'm not so sure. I know dogs, they say they can't generally see color. I'm not sure what exactly the situation with cats are. But cats can see very well in the dark.
Yes.
I think their eyesight, the tigers and lions, their eyesight is about 6 times as better than ours in the dark, which is why they hunt in the dark. And deer and all that can't see in the dark. Right. So that's why they get taken down, because they don't know that the tiger's there. They can't see it. And this guy can see it beautifully.
Right. There's one more question from Nirvan Gada. Why is it called magpie?
A magpie is generally a family of birds which are black and white.
Nice.
And they're found in the West. You know, the genuine magpies are found in the West. But this one, I think, now how birds are named is another, amazing sort of story.
Right.
Sometimes it doesn't make sense at all. But now the robin is also a bird. So somebody said that this looks like a mixture of both. So we call him the Magpie Robin. But some birds have been named peculiarly. You know, a kite, a paria kite. People said that paria is a derogatory name. We shouldn't have it.
Right.
So some smart aleck said we'll call them the black kite. Now everybody knows they're brown. They're not black. So if you're starting with bird watching and you're wondering where the hell is a black kite, I can see a lot of these other brown ones.
Right.
It doesn't make sense. So sometimes I really think that bird watchers need to get their heads examined and also their eyes examined.
Well, on that note, we'll have to wrap up the session because we're running out of time. And I'm going to go and look out for these magpies because I love to listen to the magpies sing. And this was a marvelous session. Thank you, Ranjit Lal, for this.
It was good fun.
Massive thanks to session sponsors Akshara Foundation, Mumbai. Now, if you want to make board games of your favorite characters, then don't forget to catch the session today at noon. Storyboard. Read a story, create a game. And at 2 p.m., learn the art of visual storytelling through dance and music in the session titled Birdie Dance. Mudras show the story. Lots happening here at the festival, so don't forget to log on to tatalitlive.in to see the schedule and mark out your favorite sessions. With that, I'll be signing off. See you soon.